Welcome back to another episode of Addicted to Quitting, where we are focusing on quitting those habits that no longer serve us so we can elevate our health, our habits, and our happiness. I am your host, Gentry. I'm a divorced mom to 4 boys, been sober since May 1st of 2018, and I'm addicted to quitting things that no longer serve me. And that's what I'm here to help you do as well. So today I am talking to you about a lesson that I learned while teaching my child this lesson, which I think is so amazing about having kids, is that we are able to learn as we teach. So I will not break commitments to my kids. I will teach them to not break commitments, but then I find myself breaking commitments to myself all the freaking time. So I was trying to teach him today how to build confidence in himself, and I was not setting a very good example. So if you want to hear how to build confidence in yourself, we are going to get into that in this episode, so stick around. I love being a mom because I feel like as I parent my kids, it also gives me the opportunity to parent myself. Not that my parents didn't do an amazing job. My mom and dad are amazing teachers, and actually, they physically are teachers. They're both teachers, and my dad is also a coach. And so they were very good at explaining to me how to live in life. But I think that they can't do everything. And as we become parents ourselves, we also get the opportunity to see things with the adult perspective as we teach our kids these things, right? So as I'm teaching my kids things, I'm like, oh, now that I have a fully developed prefrontal cortex, I now can understand why my parents tried to teach me these things, and I can better do them myself. So I was in a situation where I was wanting to teach my son how to build confidence in himself. And in this, I kind of realized that I wasn't always setting this best example. So I wanted to share with you guys how I was teaching him, and then also what I'm now doing for myself to make sure that I am setting a better example. Because I think that we can talk until we're blue in the face, but if we're not living the life that we're talking about, if we're not actually implementing the action steps, means nothing, because our kids aren't listening. Our kids are watching so much more than we realize. So we need to actually practice what we preach. We need to actually live what we're talking about. We need to actually live the lessons that we are trying to teach them, because that's where they're really going to be able to implement. That's when they're really going to be able to be like, yes, like my mom didn't just say work hard. My mom didn't just say keep commitments to yourself. My mom didn't just say chase your dreams. My mom actually did it. We watched my mom actually live that. And that's the type of example that I want them to see, because my words mean nothing if I'm not going to back them up with action. So today, we are talking about how to build confidence, and the lesson I was teaching my child and also turning around to teach myself. And now I'm going to turn around and teach you guys. So first of all, today is a very, very special day for somebody in my house. So my oldest son is 14 today, and I cannot believe, one, that I have a 14-year-old. It feels completely wrong. And also it's just like, he's the one that made me a mother, and he is so wise and so mature, and I'm just so incredibly proud of him. Also, it does not feel right that he is so mature and just emotionally intelligent. Like, he's probably the wisest kid I've ever met in my entire life, probably the wisest kid ever in all times. And I might be saying that as a bias because he's mine. But like the conversations that I have with him, and I'm actually going to have him on the podcast. He's agreed to come on the podcast. We're going to talk about my addiction. We're going to talk about my parenting. We're going to talk about a ton of different things. And I think it's going to add so much value to not just parents, but like teens and other kids. So I'm excited for that. We just have not done it yet. Trying to get him home long enough to record that is a struggle nowadays. But I today decided to push him a couple different ways to help him build his confidence. And in this process of pushing him, it's because last week I realized I wasn't doing this to myself. And when I wasn't doing this to myself, I was getting really just overwhelmed and boggled down with the pressures that I was putting on myself. So number one, there's two things that I think are the easiest ways to build confidence. Number one, say you're going to do something and do it. Say you're going to do something and do it. Say you're going to do something and then do it. And that doesn't mean you have to say, I'm going to run a marathon and then train for a long period of time and run the marathon. That means like, I'm going to unload the dishwasher and then I did it. I'm going to take a shower and then I did it. I'm going to walk for 20 minutes and then I did it. I'm going to get up early and work out. And then I did it, because every single time you say you're going to do something and do it, you are like putting a rock in, like, if you imagine like positive thinking and negative thinking as like a scale in your brain, and how you see yourself and how you view yourself as like one of those old school scales, right? Like weighing which one weighs more. If you say something positive or do something positive, or say you're going to do something and then you do it, it's like that like a rock in that confidence, like positive thinking, that you believe in yourself, that you trust yourself. And if you put rocks in that side, it's going to weigh more, which actually makes you feel lighter. I always think of like it, when my scale is out of whack, it's because I stand under the negative one. Like I stand just waiting to carry the weight of the negative. And so the more positive I can tell myself, the more this scale kind of like is off my back of the negative. And you guys, if you're listening to this on the podcast, you can't see me like going up and down on this like scale side, but just try to imagine it. So like you stand under the negative side of the scale. So if you put negative things on that side of the scale, it's going to continue to go down and like weigh on your back. Like you're the one that's going to have to carry that. But if you can push yourself to put rocks and positive things and confidence building things and confidence and consistency and all these things that like I follow through, I'm capable, I know I do, when I say I'm going to do something, I do it. It gets that weight off of your back a little bit more. And last week I was not doing this. Last week I was not doing this at all. I was saying I was going to do things, and then I wasn't following. Whoa, I'm going to throw the mic. Hold on. Woo. You guys, I got a little aggressive there, and I hit my mic on my little makeshift mic stand with a ponytail holding it together, but I make things work because I want to come here and help you guys. Excuse me. So where was I? I'm getting a drink of water really fast. Sorry if that was aggressively loud into the mic. But last week I was not doing this. I was not following through on the things I said I was going to do. And it was actually, it's like worse to do that than just say you're not going to do it at all. Like I'm better off saying I'm not going to get work done today, or I'm not going to unload that dishwasher, like not going to happen, or I'm not going to fold the laundry, or I'm not going to work out. But when I was like, okay, I'm going to get up early and I'm going to work out, and then I hit snooze and don't get up early, the very first thing that I did to myself was put a weight in that negative bucket and put it on top of my back. And then I said, okay, I'm going to get this done in the house. I'm going to fold all the laundry today. And then I didn't do that. And then it was another rock on this side of the scale that just put more weight on my back. And then I said I was going to do something else, and then I didn't do it. And then it would put another rock on this side of the scale. And it just is like weighing me down. And by the end of the week, I was so defeated. I was so overwhelmed. I was just exhausted because I'm carrying around all these negative things, all this like not following through. I'm failing. I'm not following. I don't do what I say I'm going to do. I'm not consistent. All this like weight, right? All this negative weight. And I don't know why we choose to carry the negative weight, but we do. We don't carry the positive weight. We like, that's like, whoa, cool. That's something that's pretty. I put it on the shelf. Look at this. I did all this. But the negative weight, we have this urge to just carry it around all the time. So the positive, it's like, look, I did this, I did this, I did this, I did this. It's on my positive shelf. I'm so proud of myself. I have a whole wall now. But as soon as I do something negative, I want to put that on my back and carry it around as like a badge of like a punishment or something. So I don't know if all that makes sense to you guys. I'm a very visual person, so I like to create these like this vision of, or what are these like what's that called? What are these called? What is that called? Oh my gosh, somebody DM me what the word I'm looking for. But anyways, I like to create the picture of what it looks like. So I create I'm not following through. I'm not staying consistent with myself. And so this morning, my son wanted to get up and work out. And I wanted a partner, because what's really sad is that I will stay accountable to him and I don't stay accountable to myself. It's really easy to break promises to myself. It's really easy to let myself down. It's really easy to not follow through on myself. It's not as easy to not follow through on my kids or on other people. And I think that this is just like a human thing. I don't think I'm the only one that suffers from not wanting to let other people down. But I don't like to let other people down. And it makes me sad for a lot of you out here that are listening to this, because I know there's so many of you that are like, would go to the ends of the earth to not look like you're letting people down, or that you are dropping the ball, or that you're not showing up, or you're not doing something for people in your life, but you won't give that same energy and effort to yourself. You are the first person to break a commitment to. You will have things on the calendar that you need to do for yourself. You will schedule it for yourself. You'll set aside money for yourself. But as soon as somebody else needs that time, money, or energy, you will give it away and not give it to yourself. And I think this is so unfair to women, men, parents, moms, single moms. Like, I think we are so quick to neglect ourselves to show up for other people. And what happens though is that, one, we get drained of energy because we aren't working on creating new energy, but also, like, you start to learn that you don't respect yourself as much as you respect other people. You start to learn that you don't follow through on yourself, that you don't chase your dreams, that you don't do the things for you because other people are always more important than you. And it's not that your kids are not all like more important. Obviously, we have to put our kids first in a lot of different situations. But for me to build confidence in myself, I have to be willing to also invest time and energy and money into myself and my goals and my dreams and my follow through. Like, if I say I'm going to do something for myself, I should treat that as if I was saying I was going to do that for somebody else. And the more that I can stay consistent and show up for myself, the more confidence I will build in myself and my abilities to show up for not just myself, but for other people. The more we say we're going to do something, not just for ourselves, this is like overall across the board completely. The more we say we're going to do something and then actually do it, the better we feel. Even if it is giving up on other people's plans or letting other people down. Like, how awful do you feel when you say you're going to go do something and then you don't? Or when you say you're going to help your kids and then you don't? Like, across the board. And everybody should be respected in this, like yourself included. But if the more we say that we're going to do something and then we actually do it, the more confidence we will build. The more of that, like, trophy wall we will build for ourselves. Like, hey, look, I said I was going to do this and I did it. Good job. I did the dishes. Yes, queen. I said I was going to fold the laundry. And I know these sound like really silly things, but I really do, like, okay, I'm going to fold the laundry today. And if I know I'm not going to get to the laundry, if I know I don't have the energy for the laundry, if I know whatever, I don't want to tell myself that I'm going to do it and then not do it, because that is a negative rock that I put on my back. I'd rather not commit to do it and not have any rocks get placed anywhere than commit to do it and not do it, if that makes sense. So last week I'm struggling with this, and then my son asked if we could work out tomorrow. And this morning I actually woke him up. I went up there to get him up to come downstairs and work out. We usually work out in the driveway, and he said it was too cold, so we had to come down to the basement, which has turned into my closet. It's an office, it's a laundry room, it's a pantry now. Like, it's like, now it's a workout room. We have the weights in the corner. It's a hot mess down here. But I'm like, yeah, okay, we'll get up and work out. So I go upstairs and I climb in bed with him, and I'm like, hey, it's time to get up. And he started to go back to sleep. And I was like, well, he went to bed kind of late last night, and maybe I should just let him sleep. And we sat there for a second, and I was like, well, do you want to get up, or do you want to just go back to sleep? Like, you were up late last night, you have football practice tonight. Like it will be totally acceptable if you don't follow through on this. Like, I'm giving him an out. And then as soon as I said that, I was like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what you were doing last week that made you feel like shit by the end of the week. And then I was like, you know what? Never mind. We said we were going to do this. We committed to ourselves that we were going to do this. We will feel better if we do it versus if we sleep in, because we've committed to ourselves. So we're going to get up and do this. So I know that maybe like at 14, he shouldn't be getting up early. He probably needed more sleep. Like, there's all this like maternal instincts of like, oh, I just want to let him off the hook. But I was like, no. If he says he's going to do something, I want to teach him that if we don't break commitments to ourselves just because the sleeping in's easier. And he has an excuse. Like, I was giving him an out, and then I stopped it. I was like, no. We said we were going to work out. Get changed. Get downstairs. Let's go work out. And in that moment, I thought, you know what I did all last week? Is I said I was going to work out. I made that commitment to myself. And then I started the day feeling shitty about myself because I didn't work out. And I was like, no more breaking commitments to myself. No more saying I'm going to do something and then not. And that's the type of lessons I want to teach him. And that's the type of lessons I want to set as like, I want him to not just hear me say those things. I want him to see me do those things. I want him to see me say like, I said I was going to work out this morning, and by golly, we're getting up and we're working out. I don't care how tired we are. I don't care if we're sore. I don't care if we only slept 2 hours, because there's always an excuse to not commit to yourself. There's always an excuse to not follow through. Like, we always can find an excuse. But if you say you're going to do something, I don't care how painful it is. I don't care how tired you are. I don't care how overwhelmed it is. Like, if we say we're going to do it and you do it, you are adding a rock into that positive bucket. You are adding a rock into like, hey, this was hard, and I said I was going to do it, and then I got down to it and I didn't want to do it, but I did it anyways. I follow through on what I say I'm going to do. And the more we can like reaffirm that thinking, the more that we're going to be able to build the confidence to continue to have that type of thinking. Like, and the easier it is on other things. So like the more that like I said, I'm making it super, super small of like even the dishwasher. Like if I say I'm going to unload the dishwasher and then I do it, it adds a rock to that confidence side. It adds a rock to that side of the scale. It's like, whew. Look at that. I don't even know if it's a scale. Now I feel like I have a confidence wall, like in my brain. It's like a confidence wall. There's no weight on the confidence side. It's like, well, besides just lifting it off this side, right? It's like, whoo, I don't have to wear that around. I get to like, I'm lighter. And I get to be proud of myself for that. But when I don't do it, even if for small things. So easiest way to build confidence, back to what we're doing here today. Sorry, I'm kind of ranting a little bit, but back to what we're here today talking about is the easiest way to build confidence is to say you're going to do something and then doing it. And let's start small. We don't have to do like, I'm going to run a 10-mile race and I've never ran before in my life. I'm going to make $1 million this year, but I'm barely making like $3,000 a month. I don't know. But like, we don't have to set these really big and crazy goals or things that we say we're going to do. Say you're going to brush your teeth and then do it. Like, I literally put baby step small things on my to-do list just to have the satisfaction of saying that I did them, because it helps build confidence in myself. It helps build that like muscle that like, hey, when I say I'm going to do something, I do it. And I don't put things on my list that I'm not ready to do, or that I know I won't be able to do, or I know that I'm in a really bad depressed funk right now. And so I'm not going to overextend myself and like overcommit myself and put a bunch of pressure on myself to be a normal person. Like I'm not right now. I'm sick, or I'm depressed, or whatever, so that I can build that confidence back up. Because a lot of times when I'm in that depressed funk or I'm in that anxious funk, it's because I've done things like knock my mic off the thing. My ponytail is just not as strong today. Sorry, that little noise was, I just hit the mic off of the stand again because it's held together up by my scrunchie. And I get animated. So you should watch me on YouTube because you can see my hands go all different ways. And you'll be able to see the new sign that I have coming. Anyways, where were we? So, building that confidence. The easiest way to build the confidence is to say you're going to do something and then do it. And if it's starting small, baby steps, but actually doing the things you say you're going to do. If you know you are not going to get up tomorrow, do not tell yourself you're going to get up just for you to hit snooze for the 17,000th time. So you're starting your day off with a rock on your back saying like, guess what you didn't do today? You didn't do what you said you were going to do. You started the day off as a failure. So if you say you're going to do something, do it. If you're not going to do it, don't say you're going to do it. That is the easiest way to build confidence, is to follow through on the things that you say you're going to do. All right, lesson number 2 came up when we were actually working out. But lesson number 1 is super important for lesson number 2. So when we say we're going to do something and then we do it, we build up the confidence muscle that when we say we're going to do something, eventually we will do it. So today we were working out and I have this sandbag that I use to work out. So it's just like this long sandbag. It has like different 10-pound sandbags in it. And it's kind of awkward to have to like lift up and carry and move around. And I was lifting it up and putting it on his back for him so that he could do his lunges and squats. And I thought, you know what, I bet you could like lift and clean this yourself. So like clean where you like squat down and you have it in front of you and you come and like spin it and then you put it like, and then up over your head. If you don't know what that is, Google it. But so I was like, I bet you could clean and press it over your head so that you could do these without me having to lift it up. He goes to do it and he can't. And he tries and he tries and he tries and he can't. Like he can't get it twisted. It is kind of awkward because there's like sandbags in it. And I was like, you could do it. And he's like, no, I can't. Just put it on my back. And I was like, well, now we have a goal. Now we have a goal because you're not going to tell yourself you can't do something. Like you can do this. You are capable of getting strong enough to do this. So now we have a goal. So something that when we say we're going to do something and then we do it consistently with the baby steps things, that when we get to something that is a little bit harder, is that 10-mile race, is that like that making $1 million or whatever, when we actually set those goals, we believe in ourselves that we can actually accomplish it. Because when I say I'm going to do the dishes, I do them. When I say I'm going to fold the clothes, I do them. When I say I'm going to get up early to work out, I do it. So if I say I'm going to be able to clean this sandbag at some point, that sounds bad. Like I'm like giving him cleaning supplies to clean it, but like clean squat press it. If I could clean squat press this sandbag eventually, oh, my nose. Hold on. So when we get in the habit of doing what we say we're going to do, this is what's really helpful when we actually are doing things that we can't quite do yet. So when we're setting goals for ourselves, when we're saying like, hey, I want to run the 10-mile race. I want to make $1 million. I want to get promoted at work, but things that we can't get immediately. But we have built up the confidence in ourselves that when we say we're going to do something, we actually follow through. And then we make sure we find ways to actually follow through. So we're working out today and he's not able to clean squat press this sandbag. And he said he couldn't do it. And I was like, you eventually will be able to do this. We will keep practicing until you can do it. Like you'll get stronger. You'll learn how to maneuver the weight. You'll get there. By the end of the workout, he was able to clean, squat, and press this sandbag. He was dropping it over and over at the beginning of the workout. And then I was like, okay, do your sets. And then every single time it's your turn to do your sets with the sandbag again. I want you to practice trying to do it. I want you to practice doing that clean. I want you to practice doing that flip. And it took the entire hour that we were working out. But by the end of the workout, he was able to clean squat press. He was able to figure out the weight. He was figuring out the how he needed to flip it. And I really honestly thought it was going to take him longer than that. I thought it was going to be like a couple more sessions. And I was like, man, this is going to be such a good lesson. But the fact that he figured it out within the hour, I mean, good for him. I really wanted it to be a little bit longer. But I think that like the lesson behind it was like, one, when you take baby steps of saying you're going to do something and then do it, it builds up the confidence that when you say you're going to do something, then you can have like this confidence in yourself that like, okay, I might not today, but maybe I will tomorrow. And I might not tomorrow, but I'm going to keep taking the baby steps so that I can do it the next day. And if it's not the next day, I'm going to keep taking the baby steps that I need to take to do it the next day, because I have confidence in myself that when I say I'm going to do something, I freaking do it. So we have to build up that confidence. And the easiest way to build that is with really small things. But the reason we do that is so that when it comes to those bigger goals, when it comes to the things that really matter, we have the tools, we have the confidence, we have that weight off of our back that we can actually get there, that we actually can run the 10 miles. It's like, okay, I said I was going to run 10 miles. I said I was going to run this race. So I'm going to start today with this baby step, with this action step, with this plan of attack. I'm going to start running with 2 miles a day. And then I'm going to move it to 3 miles a day. And then I'm going to move it to 4 miles a day. And then I'm going to push myself until I hit that mark, because when I say I'm going to do something, I do it. And you build that by doing small things consistently. And so that's what I learned today for myself and for my son. And that if I want my son to continue to do these types of things, that it's important for me to model that type of behavior. And it's important for me to not give up on myself. It's important for me to show that like, hey, I said I was going to get up early and work out, and by golly, mommy got up and worked out. And I said I was going to do these things and long-term goals, and you saw me take the action steps to actually accomplish those things. I said I was going to keep a clean house, and I kept a clean house. I said I was going to go to your game, and I came to your game. I said I was going to show up, and I showed up. I said I was going to wake you up early, and I woke you up early. I said I was going to have snacks after school, and I had snacks after school. Like the more that we say we're going to do things and we actually follow through on them, the more we're actually teaching teaching our kids how to model that behavior. The more we say we're going to do things and we don't follow through on them, our words mean jack shit, because our behavior is showing our kids that, like, hey, we don't have to actually follow through on things. We just can say we're going to, but the behavior that comes after saying you're going to do something is inconsistent. Like, sometimes she follows through, sometimes she doesn't. But if I want my kids to be confident, if I want my kids to be consistent, it is my job to model that behavior. And so I have to be better at this. And I think that this is why parenting is so valuable to our society, because not only am I realizing, like, hey, I have to teach these four little humans how to be adults. So how is what's the best way to teach these four little humans how to be adults? Well, be a better adult. Like, be the adult I would want them to be. So we get to parent ourselves through parenting our kids that other adults that don't have kids don't have the opportunity to do. They're just stuck with the consequences of their behavior. They don't have the mirror of a child to reflect back, like, ooh, somebody's watching me. Like, somebody's checking to see if I'm actually following through on these things. Like, that is what's so beautiful about being a parent, is the opportunity to not only parent them, but the opportunity to parent ourselves, because we have to set the example for our kids to actually be successful. Like, I have to be what I talk about being. I have to be what I want them to be, or they're going to get mixed messages on how to become the best version of themselves. So the best way to teach your kids how to become the best version of themselves is for you to implement the things that you want them to be when they grow up. Like, what kind of person do you want them to be? Do you want them to be somebody that can set boundaries? Well, then you better freaking be setting boundaries. Do you want them to be somebody that's healthy and takes care of their body? Well, you better be being healthy and taking care of your body. Do you want them to be somebody that's kind and generous? Well, what are you doing to be kind and generous, not just to them, but to, like, society? Do you want them to be somebody that works hard? Are you modeling hardworking behavior? Your kids are going to mirror what they see, not what you tell them. So set the example. And the easiest way to build confidence in yourself and your kids is to say you're going to do something and then do it. And then teach them to say they're going to do something and then do it. Follow through. Start small, baby steps. Build that confidence. Put those pebbles into that weight, into that scale, saying, like, yes, I follow through. Yes, I follow through. Yes, I follow through. And I've done this enough on the baby step scale that now that I say that I'm going to speak on stages with the 1,000 people and I'm going to help people get sober, and then I'm going to quit my job and start a podcast and merch and do all these things. Now that I've done this baby step process for so long, I know I will follow through. I know I'll get there where I'm not there yet, but I know I'll get there, because I know that when I say I'm going to do something, I find a way to do it. So today is my son's 14th birthday, and I'm so incredibly proud of him. He is the wisest, most mature, most, like, emotionally intelligent child I've ever met in my entire life, and I cannot wait to have him on this podcast. We're actually going to talk about my days as a drunk, and how that made him feel. I have a lot of really, really powerful questions for him. Oh my gosh, I just hit the mic again with trying to shoo off a fly. I'm sorry if that's, like, really loud when I hit that. Anyways, thank you guys so much for tuning in today to Addicted to Quitting. This is the podcast about quitting things that no longer serve you. So quit not following through on your commitments, whether they're commitments to yourself or commitments to other people. If you want to build confidence in yourself, start small and follow through on those commitments. If you say you're going to do something, do the damn thing. Much love to my favorite quitters. I will see you soon.